What's up, Dragon Games? I'm going to be reading the second half of the Godus story. Now, buckle up because, again, not gameplay. Discouraged by my previous failures, but determined to make things right, I pressed on with my efforts to help the humans with my newly discovered powers. Cowswallop was also a lovely farming village. It now lies at the bottom of a swamp after I had the bright idea about making the ground wet instead of risking another downpour. Luckily, Ghoul fared better after my attempt to gift the village the new forest, having accidentally burnt the previous one down. My aim turned out to be a little off, and now mostly humans live in tree houses, but at least the village is still mostly intact. It's just a bit further off the ground is all. My blunders with Ram's Bottom and the other villages cost my people dearly and were not without consequences. I had assumed these humans would always be my people. I did not know it could be any other way. But some were not happy. Not happy with me. I could feel them slipping away. For the first time, there was a split among the humans, and it was my fault. These lost ones began searching for a new protector, and this was not something the loyal would tolerate. Shrines were torn down, fights broke out, and eventually the lost were banished. I'd never seen such deliberate violence before. So much strife, and it's all my fault. How could this have happened? The exile of the lost was just the beginning. They organized under the leadership of a charismatic man named Sid and formed their own settlements. They were angry and desperate for their own protector. At first, they were content to build shrines and statues to worship and pray at. Were they hoping to attract another like me? Could they not see it was futile? There are no others like me. I tried to tempt them back. I spread beauty across my loyal people's land. While this caused something of a population explosion among my own, it just made the lost become more bitter and jealous. They soon turned their hungry eyes on my people. They started slowly, cautiously, small raids. Some crops stolen, the odd hut set on fire. My people bolstered their defenses, and so the escalation began. The lost came in greater numbers, and small raids become battles. My people built bows and held the advantage for the time, but the lost quickly caught up. It pains me to see such ingenuity turned to tools of war. And war it was. I intervened from time to time, but doing so just seemed to incense Sid and his lost, bolstering their anger and determination. I was at a loss at what to do. My efforts only seemed to make things worse. The war raged on for months. How readily these fragile creatures embraced the opportunity to do each other harm. Then came the turning point. Astrid was injured in a battle and almost lost to me forever. I could not let that happen. This has to end one way or another. In my anger, without thinking, I reached the sky and brought enormous fiery meteors crashing down on the lost. It was over. The lost and their settlements were nothing more than smoldering ashes. Once again, I had proven my talent for destruction. Why of all things does this come so easily? My people are safe, but how have they been changed? I'm not sure things will ever be the same again. The war was over, but I could not forgive myself for how it ended. I must never allow myself to act so impulsively again. So much destruction. It should not have ended like that. I should have tried harder to find another way. I waited fearfully for what would come next. Days passed into weeks, but nothing happened. my people simply cast aside their tools of war and set to rebuilding. In no time at all, laughter and song had replaced angry cries and screams. I don't know how they could move on so easily. I will never be able to look at them or myself in the same way again, but for their sake, I must put this behind me and learn from my mistakes. I have made a puzzling discovery. It seems there are some places in the world I cannot go. I don't remember seeing them before. Were they always there? These areas are sapped of color and resist all my influence. They also have a peculiar effect on my people. When I sent a small group in to investigate, they began to act very strangely. Henry wandered around giggling, picking his nose and shouting at rocks, while Astrid tried to eat her own shoes. It was hours before they wandered out and came to their senses. Where did this gray come from? I hope there's not much more of it about. The gray is spreading. I wasn't sure at first, but there is no denying it now. Part of the western island is now covered in the gray, and the whole village has been consumed. It took me all day to coax out and round up the villagers. They had painted themselves green head to toe and were building some sort of shrine to a particularly large and hairy coconut. I had to find an even larger one before they could be tempted to out. It wasn't easy, I must admit. Theirs was quite the majestic specimen. The eastern island seems clear for now. I will have to encourage my people to head there and hope the gray doesn't follow. Sorry, my nose is a little bit stuffy. My people made it safely to the eastern island. Creating such a large land bridge for them to cross was taxing, but now must be sunk to prevent them from wandering back. The western island is all but consumed. It'll be a fresh start. They have learned so much and come so far. They are an industrious and hard-working people, virtuous and proud. They will thrive yet. I think it is time they had a name. Perhaps I will name them after Astrid. She's my favorite. Oh dear, this is where Astari come in. The Astridi? No, that doesn't sound right. Astarians? Astardati? Astarians? The Astari? Yes, perfect. A noble name for a noble people. The exodus to the east has highlighted some flaws in my people. They are really terrible at traveling, useless at climbing and sink like stones in the water. The journey would have been much easier if I didn't have to carve out paths and bridges for them. My first experiments were not encouraging. I tried stretching their arms and legs to help with climbing and even flatten their feet into flippers like the odd little sea creatures have. The results were messy. Humans really are a squishy lot. Poor Henry. In a way, I succeeded eventually. Observing my efforts has really motivated my people to practice and get good at climbing and swimming. I'm going to count this as a win. It's no use. Blah, no good. The gray has spread to this island. It will cover the whole land eventually, and there's nowhere left to go. I led my people to the furthest point on the island to settle, even though it seemed like it was just delaying the inevitable. But then my people made an amazing discovery. Buried beneath what is to be their final settlement was an ancient ruin. There were people here before, a whole tribe, and I also sensed the faint echo of a presence of another thing like me. What could this mean? Where did they go? Is it possible I'm not alone? Finally! There is hope. There was very little left of the departed ones in the ruins, but my people did find some curious carvings. They show the gray closing in and them building ships to depart for another land that held the answer to undoing its spread. They even left behind a map. They must have succeeded, if only for a little while. But then why didn't they return? Why didn't the other return? This new land is the key to my people's safety, and the answer to so many questions. Who am I? What am I? My people have already begun building mighty arcs for the journey. Answers, adventure, and salvation await. I am almost out of time, and I fear it may already be too late. There's so little space left for me. If I wait any longer, I may be cut off from my people forever. What would happen to them then? Who would protect them, guide them, and care for them? No, I will not let that happen. I must discover the source and push back. There's no time to finish the second arc, my poor people. I pushed them so hard to achieve this much, but some will have to remain behind, though it pains me greatly to leave them. I'll leave them what protection I can. I hope they'll be alright. I will return for them. And that's about it for the story. Bye!